The event of 1872. There are two major events happened in 1872. First was the Cavite Mutiny, and the second was the martyrdom of the three priests, which are Jose Burgos, Mariano Gomez, and Jacinto Zamora, or known to be as Gumborza. The Cavite Mutiny. The uprising had started when the Spanish administrator had taken away some of the benefits of the Indio, which causes the Indio to revolt against the Spanish administrator. The fear of the Spanish administrator that the fight will soon to escalate and affect Manila, they ordered to kill the Indio who was with the revolt, and especially the mastermind of the said uprising. The martyrdoms of the three martyr priests, who would then be collectively named as Gomborza. This all started with two issues: the visitation and the management of the parishes. The secular priest was forced by the government to give in with the wishes of the regular priest.
But the secular priests haven't granted the wishes of the regular priest. As a result, many of the secular priests at that time were arrested, including the Gumburza. But the regular priests had tagged them as the mastermind of the said Cavite Mutiny, which causes them to be executed by Torote.
Hi, good day everyone. Good day, ma'am. I am Maria Benito Villaflores and I am portraying the role of the secular priest. So, in the Catholic Church, the secular priest or the clergy are ordained the ministers such as deacons and priests who do not belong to our religious institutes. So, canon law makes specific demands on clergy, whether religious, whether the regular or the secular priest, and quite apart from their obligation consequent to our religious vows. So, during 1872, long before 1872, in order to strengthen the faith of the Catholic faith, the secular priests, or we the secular priests, our job is to introduce the faith, convert, and establish communities. And we the secular priests who live in this world, we are not part of the religious community, and continue to work already laid down by the laymen's, to lay down by the laid out of regular clergy. And a new reform was established that no priest could care for the soul of laymen unless we are subject to episcopal authority, which would only in the form of visitation. So we would not want to have a conflicting order between our provincial superior and the bishop. So therefore, let us not allow such visitation, and we only refuse the visitation because we do not want to disobey our superior. So, in 1972, the three priests followed Saldua. Burgos weeping like a child, Zamora with vacant eyes, and Gomez head held high, blessing the Filipino who knelt at his feet, and he was next to die. So when his confessor, a Recollect friar, exhorted him loudly to accept his fate, he replied, "Father, I know that not a leaf falls to the ground, but by the will of God, since he will that I should die here, his holy will be done." And Zamora went up to the scaffold without a word and delivered his body to the executioner. His mind had already left it. So Burgos was the last, a refinement of cruelty that compelled him to watch the death of his companions. He seated himself on the iron rest and then sprang up crying and said, "But what crime have I committed? It is possible that I should die like this, my God? Is there no justice on earth?" as a dozen friars surrounded him and pressed him down again upon the seat of the garrote, pleading with him to die a Christian death. He obeyed, but feeling his arms tied round the fatal hose, protested once again, "But I am an innocent." "So was Jesus Christ," said one of the friars. At this, Burgos resigned himself. The executioner knelt at his feet and asked his forgiveness. "I forgive you, my son. Do your duty," and it was done. And although the public execution of the three priests was meant to instill fear in the Filipinos, it had the opposite effects, and these were it as the friars wanted to make an example of Burgos and his companions so that the Filipinos should be afraid to go against them from them on, but that patent injustice, that the official crime aroused not fear but hatred of the faith.
Good day guys, my name is Kobe Villanueva. I am 19 years old, currently studying at Foundation University, Dumaguete City. And also I am a member of Indios. So, we are all aware that Filipinos have heroic blood, right? So there is no doubt that I do have that kind of blood flowing inside me. So about that, I have a quote saying, "What's rightfully ours tend to be defended in order to be remained in our hands." So about what happened way back on 1872, I made myself very proud for fighting to protect my country land against those colonizers or Spanish people. So as what my fellow countrymen desired to take what's rightfully ours, I was indeed at their side during that time, willingly to serve, to fight, win or lose against the Spanish people for my country for being colonized. So, and because of that, my love for my country got stronger than it was. And then that's all I got to say, guys. Thank you for listening and your time. I do appreciate it. Bye.
Good day everyone, I am Venus Marcel Yap and I will be portraying the role of the non-Spanish foreign journalist, which is Edmond Flochot. Edmond Flochot was a journalist in the event of 1872. He was the one who wrote the account, one of the writer of the account. So he's the one who gave the account during that year, that 1872 19th century. So, as the account was, as narrated by Edmond Flochot, a French journalist, the execution happened in just a matter of days ago, which is on 1872. The Comburza priests were found guilty on February 15, 1872, and were sentenced to death. They were executed the next day. Out of the three priests, he said that only Father Gomez was apathetic to the sentence, seeming to feel no fear of it. So Father Zamora lost his mind. Many people from varying places came to watch the execution. Father Burgos was the last one to be executed. Even with fear, he accepted his fate and forgiveness and gave his forgiveness to the executioner before being struggled to death. So if I were to be Edmond Floshot, I will be like the same like him, because I would be also a journalist, and I would also write the event during that year for the future references. And for like us students know what actually happens during that year, because one of the most important document that we could read or we could know from the past years is writing, or like writing. So Edmond Floshot is a good writer and a good journalist, because he is able to write that account during the event of 1872. So if I could be Edmond Floshot, I would also be a journalist for writing all the happenings on that year. So that's all.
My character is Spanish regular priest. Long before 1872, in order to strengthen the Catholic faith, we divided the clergy into two. We, the regular Spanish priest, and the secular priest. Our jurisdiction tell and our elected believes we are better prepared for missionary work because of our standards of discipline and strict practice of self-denial, especially in spiritual discipline. Our job then was to introduce the faith, convert the natives, and establish religious communities. Unlike secular priests who didn't belong to any religious order or they were under supervision of the bishop, we regular priests maintained control over the parishes in the early stages of Christianization out of necessity, because of the scarcity of secular priests to whom the parishes would be passed on. However, beginning in the late 17th century, efforts were intensified to produce and train Filipino secular priests that by the 19th century they constituted an increasingly significant number. Despite this, we, the regular clergy, usually contested, if not outright refused, the right of the secular clergy to the parishes.
Hello, it was Jenny B. Grubay. I was assigned as a Spanish administrator. So it was this time that the Governor Rafael Escuerdo replaced Governor De La Torre. Governor Rafael Escuerdo was a cruel government at that time. He was the one who declared to take away some of the benefits of the injured, the reason why the injury revolt against the Spanish government. So if I were Governor Rafael Escuerdo, since I believe that a Cavite mutiny is an aim of the native to overthrow or to get rid of the Spanish government in the Philippines due to the removal of the privilege enjoyed by the laborers of the Cavite arsenal, such as exemption from the tribute or forced labor. So since I believe that was the reason why there was a Cavite mutiny, I was afraid that this would happen, or they would succeed from what they wanted. So that was the reason why I ordered death penalty as a punishment of the Cavite mutiny. I was also afraid. Just like Governor Rafael Escuerdo, I was also afraid that the Cavite mutiny will soon escalate and affect Manila. So since I was afraid, I would also declare a death penalty for all the injured who revolt against my government. So that's all.